This here says Chelsea asked Caicedo to do too much running. He's going to burn out. Huge gap left for any club. Any club to run into because he's not Superman. Unimpressed. Ugo, do you agree with this super chat from Jay that says you as a club are making Caicedo run too much and he's going to get hurt or burn out?
Yeah, for me, Caicedo, I think it's not even just Caicedo. I think Palmer as well, and I think this lands at the feet of Enzo Maresca. At least sometimes you rest a player. No one is saying Caicedo should start on the bench, but you get in 30 minutes to go, 20 minutes to go, you take him off, keep him on the bench, bring someone else on. Like Palmer today as well was being kicked left, right, and center, and it was already nursing an injury coming into the game. Rather than take him off, you can't tell me João Felix is not good enough to play 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Keep him there, and he gets kicked and kicked and kicked. Caicedo being overworked. Sometimes you look at the game is won. You take him off, let him rest. No one is saying Caicedo is no longer good anymore or Palmer is not good anymore. So sometimes give these players time to rest and recover for the next game. And then just to say something quickly on Palmer, two things can be true. Palmer can be a very good player, can be Chelsea's most important player, but you can point out things that he's getting wrong or he's not doing, or some mistakes he's making. Like against Fulham, he held onto the ball too long, lost the ball, counter-attack, go. Against Crystal Palace as well, held onto the ball a bit too long, lost the ball.
He's the one that lost the ball against Palace for the equalizer.
Against Palace, yeah. Counter-attack, Palace score, goal. So no one is not. You can say Palmer is Chelsea's best player, but you can also, point out to say he's done this. He's got this wrong. He needs to take this out of his game or something. And today, just like you pointed out, a quick through pass, Jackson scores 4-1, or I think Jackson scores, and then the game is taken away from Wolves. But held onto the ball a bit too long. And I think that's something that is beginning to creep into his game. He's still a very good player. Just like you have Ronaldinho, wonderful talent, amazing player, world-class player, but you could still every now and again say he was the reason this happened, he's the reason this didn't happen.
Yeah. I hear that. The thing with Palmer is, though, he's a risk taker. And when you have a risk taker, you're also going to have these issues. But the risks he takes is the reason why he's going to be a high goal scorer and a high-level creator. And I think that you have to have that trade-off. I was want to say on Caicedo, while you were talking, I went and had a look. Looking at Roy Keane. Roy Keane, in 1994, in 1999, 55 games per season, average around 45. Frank Lampard for Chelsea averaged 49 games a season, but went as high as 62 games in 2007. Actually, slightly less in 08, where he got 40. Season after that, 55. This is a player that I know that people don't want to see players get injured, but I think football forever, and I don't think it will change. There's always been a group of maybe 6 or 7 players that are the core of your side that, if they're fit, are going to play 50 to 60 games a season. I don't think much has changed in that regard. And what I would say about Chelsea's players this year is that none of your main guys are playing your European games. So if you actually compare the amount of games Caicedo's playing versus your main starters from your peak Chelsea teams, he's probably going to end up playing 10 to 15, maybe even 20 games less this season than some of those guys did.
Terry, there was a thing in the first half, and I know all Chelsea fans watching this had their breath went away when he jarred his knee in the first half. I went. If he was, I went season over. I went season's done. If Caicedo, that's why we need to bring like Ugo Chukwu back or something like that.
No, I get you, because the problem is with Lavia, isn't it? That Lavia is brilliant, but he's just so injury prone. He's so injury prone. It's crazy.
You know when they said about Juventus player, I thought they were talking about bringing Douglas Luiz in on loan or something. That'd be an amazing
deal.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
I think Leslie should be called back. Should be recalled. Because Lavia plays one game and then he's out for like 3 games.
Yeah.
So I think Leslie could do a job. I think he could be called back.
This year, it says Chelsea didn't create clear-cut chances. Wolves nullified Palmer and Jackson. I think he's on the wings. Wolves conceded from set pieces, makes mistakes, which won't be the case against other teams. Nick, is that a concern for you about the amount of open play chances you created today?
I think that's been a problem with a lot of our wingers, and especially with Jackson over the last 5 games, is they're not really, and that's why I think it's a bit harsh to kind of stick all the blame on Palmer sometimes. It's not always down to him. I mean, we've got a lot of wingers at the club who the output isn't very high. Neto, since he's come in, he's had his moments, but I don't really like judging players in the first season, so we'll kind of see how that goes on. Again, Madueke, I mean, he just frustrates me. I don't know how he ends up starting most games. He's probably one of the most disappointing players we've had this season. Again, Sancho, I think he's been, from rivals, they've kind of looked at him and almost wanted to say he's been playing bad recently, but he's actually been one of our more influential players. He's not necessarily always scored or assisted, but he always does the right things on the ball. But yeah, I think we haven't been passing the ball around like we were early on in the season, and our players aren't as clinical as they were early on in the season, but we're still creating chances. The thing is, over the last 5 games, is we haven't been taking them, and today we did. So yeah, and that's the thing about the Garnacho as well, is Garnacho scored some really good goals for Man United, but at the same time, he's another one of them players who he's not a prolific goal scorer. So I don't get why you then want to bring in another winger who's not going to be prolific. It just doesn't really make sense to me spending that much money on someone.
Some geek with their data has told them he's good or something. That's what it is.
So
yeah, that
I don't really get it, but yeah, it is a bit of a problem. I said I think there's a lot of our attacking players who haven't really been getting the output we might want, but hopefully it'll come. I mean, we've got some games coming up soon. I'm not really thinking too much about the Man City game. I would like to go there and win. If we get a draw out of that, I mean, I wouldn't complain. But against West Ham at home, we've got to be, again, trying to get some goals in, build some confidence back into the team. I mean, we've got Brighton after that in the Cup, haven't we? So, and we've always done, in recent years, we've done quite well against Brighton. So, and then actually we've got them straight after in the league as well. So hopefully over the next few games, we can start getting our confidence back in our goal scoring.
Yeah, that's it, isn't it? It's the confidence with this young group of players. Like, they really run off confidence, and when it's there, we're passing it around. It's all looking silky. They'll put it away, and the second they have that little bit of doubt in their head, you see it. The game changes, and all of them kind of drop their heads a little bit. So if we can get momentum now by beating City off the back of this one, I think we could go on another good run again for sure.
That'll be a huge lot. If we beat City, that'll be huge.
It'd be big.
What you were saying as well, Nick, about sort of the data stuff, you just got to blame one man, and that's Peter Brand. Okay, I think he's the guy that started Moneyball off, wasn't he? So it's all the rage now. Sanchez proper reminds me of Karius 2.0. He's so crap. Really could do with a replacement. Not feeling confident against City.
Karius is way worse, but bigger.
I think when you have a goalkeeper that makes you nervous, it doesn't help. Like, a lot of United fans want Bayern to go back in goal. And I know he was brilliant for us after the penalty save, but every other performance before that has been awful. And he fills me with no confidence. And you really need to have a goalie that makes everybody, if you're feeling it, I think the players might as well.
Yeah.
Gilno says Hussam, etc., have been crying at even the idea of a debate between Hazard and Salah as footballers, only for Curtis Jones to say Eden Hazard. Hazard is the Prem's Dino, the apex of pure footballers. Cry more.
This is a mad statement. First of all, no one will say that Salah is better technically than Hazard. Of course, Hazard is better technically. I've said this from day one. Andrew will vouch. I've had this conversation with him 100 times. Like, technically, I've never claimed Salah is better. But my problem with Curtis Jones is you have to back your teammate publicly. Like, we all know that, as an example, Nunes is absolutely useless, but Salah will always compliment him in public. He'll always say good stuff about him in public. If Martinelli's asked who's better, Saka or Salah, I expect Martinelli to say Saka because it's his teammate. Publicly, you have to back your teammate. The problem with Curtis Jones is he wasn't even asked the question. He just said it for no reason whatsoever. And that's the problem I have with him. He spent 2.5 years passing the ball left and right. You know, I would, this guy need to be sold, to pay for his crime of even opening his mouth and mentioning Salah's name, to be honest with you. As when it comes to Hazard and Ronaldinho, the same sentence, I think you need to send another super chat £10, just saying sorry for putting that statement together. Respect Ronaldinho Gaucho and never ever mention Hazard with them in the same sentence. Ronaldinho is one of the greatest players in footballing history, period. Ronaldinho is a top 5 footballer of all time. Don't bring Hazard to his name. Hazard's not even the Ronaldinho of the Premier League. He's not. Because no one is the Ronaldinho of the Premier League.
Yes,
no one. Because no one ever hit those heights. Not even Salah, not Hazard, not Ronaldo, no one. Like, Ronaldo is one of the GOATs, one of the best players in football history because of Real Madrid. In Man United, he was phenomenal for 3 years, but
Cristiano.
Cristiano. No. Ronaldinho. No. Ronaldinho at Barca was better than Cristiano at Man United. But Cristiano, as a career and Madrid involved, that's why he goes ahead of him.
No, I understand where you're coming from. I think as well. I know he's backtracked since, hasn't he, Curtis Jones? He'd put a tweet out saying, but this is the player that I'd prefer to play with.
Salah in the picture.
And I'm not defending what he said because I've only seen the clip. I didn't know if there was a question before or whatever. I don't know the context. I'd love to ask you what do you consider better? And what I mean by that is that we don't all see better in the same way. Me and Lee Gunner had a debate once where he sees finishing different from me. I look at Ronaldo is a better finisher for me than Bergkamp because he scores more goals, has a good variety, and he takes more of his chances. Therefore, I think he's a better finisher. And Lee's definition isn't wrong. It's just his definition. He sees it as the way Bergkamp essentially strikes the ball and the cleanness of it. That's finishing as opposed to being a goal scorer. So, and that's the thing when people say who's the best, because some might think I'm just talking about who's technically the best versus who's the best to play with or who's better for your team. I'd love to ask players those questions because I bet you would get 10 pro footballers give very different answers. It's like the world class question. What's world class? You might get 10 different answers. So therefore, sometimes it isn't about what someone says. It's you need to understand their framing. But I'm sure Chelsea fans...
Yeah, like Jared Bowen, for example, has referred publicly before to Salah as the best winger he's ever seen. So, like, we can have different opinions from different footballers. And if we're talking about technique, then Hazard is definitely better technically than Salah. No one will... guys, we cannot lie to ourselves. That's like these Chelsea gentlemen claiming that Lampard is better technically than Gerrard. He's not. Like, Gerrard's better technically. It's normal.
Yeah.
Let's move on, man, because we'll be here for 8 hours. So I
know. These debates aren't going... Because I always remember when Jamie Carragher said that... Jamie Carragher said on Monday Night Football years ago, he did this weird thing where he said that Gerrard was better than Scholes, which is fair, and you'd expect him to. And then Jamie went, but 5 minutes ago, you just said that when you went to England training, the best player on the pitch was always Paul Scholes. So how can Paul Scholes be the best, but Gerrard be better? And he essentially explained it like I did. He went, yeah, technically Scholes the best, but in terms of impact on games, consistency, I think Gerrard is. And I think that you probably find Curtis Jones meant something along those lines as well. And
Terry, Sam's right though. Sam's right. He should have come out and backed Salah publicly. Like Resco, I know, just now backed Sanchez publicly. He has to back Sanchez publicly. That's his job. He's backed him publicly. He's backed, but in private,
yeah, publicly you have to back your teammate.
You have to back him. Yeah, you can't
unless you're Amarim.
Yeah, but Amarim, I'll give him credit. They asked me this question today. I give him credit. He said we. So he and I listened to Jamie Carragher today saying it's the terrible message. And I went, so you've not even listened to or played the whole clip. He blamed his own coaching, his own instructions. He ripped into himself more than anything. And that seems to miraculously be ignored. But there we go.